than they do email a lot of times. So I think a good cell number is always important, more so than a home number. Also, your email address is going to be very critical, because everything is done through email nowadays with the application process. And then as far as if you scroll down a little bit, Zach,
sure.
You see that section that says other income?
It's real little.
Yeah.
Let me zoom in just.
There you go.
Okay. I didn't want to block the other sections, but do you see where my cursor is now, guys, on that other income?
That's just what I'm looking for there. Is I'm looking for if you've got a pension, 401k, stuff like that. Any type of retirement funds that we might be able to use to put on the application. We don't need to liquidate them necessarily, but we might want to put them on there just to show that we've got some additional assets. Okay, and if you don't have them, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Not everybody does. Very few people do.
So somebody could put it on child support. It says Qatar. Is that right? I mean, not that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes any difference.
Yeah, definitely. You can put your child support there, of course.
Okay.
The thing about child support is we want to make sure it's going to be in place for 3 years in order to count it. Okay, but don't worry about all that. Just put it down and we'll figure that out later. Okay, and then we're under borrower assets. What I'm looking for is where you're currently doing your banking. Okay, if you're not banking with anyone and you're getting your paycheck on one of those cards, then that's okay. You can put down the name of the card and then put down how much your direct deposit is typically when you get paid.
Sorry, it bounced around there.
No, you're okay.
So under asset type, Qatar, what's an example for
checking or savings?
Yeah, there you go. Checking or savings.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So asset type, checking, institution, bank name, Huntington, PNC, Fifth Third, whatever, and then amount, however much is in the account, and then the account number would be how you fill that out.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we're just trying to capture the information. So I'm not necessarily worried about you having a certain amount of money in your account because, hopefully we can get you access to some grants. Okay. Anybody got any questions so far?
Hey, Judy, are you still able to hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. No, I just wanted to make sure you were on board here. I know the screen's a little clunky, but I wanted to show it on a phone so everybody has a good feel that you can do this on the mobile. Are you able to see my screen, Judy?
I've been sitting here trying to sit and fill this thing out. We're not doing it right now, are we?
Hey, you're ahead of the game.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I didn't get that.
No, that's
yes,
awesome.
I can definitely see it.
What we were doing is we were just going to walk you through the nuances of it now. And then after we did it, I was going to show you how you save it and you can send it to Qatar because there's a little bit of fiddling you have to do that. And then I was going to make sure you have it. So, Judy, you're saying you do have this application already?
I can see what you're doing here. I can see it.
Good. Well, I'll make sure you both have this in PDF format so you actually have this document as well. Okay.
Good.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Oh, sure. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Qatar, where should we head next?
Yeah, we're going to go down to where it says terms requested. Okay. So, Zach, you can zoom in on the top part of that. Scroll up. Just there you go. So under purchase price, that's typically what you are thinking you might want to get pre-approved for. And I tell you, some people know, and some people tell me all the time, hey, I'm not sure. I want to get approved for as much as I can. I have no idea. And then what I'll ask them next is, what kind of payment a month is comfortable for you. So if you scroll over a little bit to the right, Zach, under source, you can put down what kind of payment a month is comfortable for you. Okay.
Okay.
Makes sense. Everybody okay? Makes sense?
Yes.
All right. Scroll back over to the left.
I do have a question though about that there.
Mm-hmm.
This is me. This is Judy. I don't know where I went on here. I'm not I'm not used to this. But Now with that whole income thing and how much you're willing to pay, I wanted to ask a question. What if the place is going to be in my name, for example, but I have people that wants to stay there too. So we're like, doing the whole thing together like a family house.
Right.
How does that work?
Well, good question. It depends on who's on I'm looking for who's going to be on the application. So let's say you got 4 people that are going to be living with you, but it's
Right.
just going to be you on the application. Okay. I'm not really
Okay.
worried about on this particular application. I'm not worried about their information at all. Just who I'm pulling credit with and who's going to be on the mortgage.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay.
Cool.
But Qatar, if she did have a trusted, like a partner of some type, and I'm not talking about a business partner, but somebody she was living with that she was committed to, could that person be a co-borrower with her?
Yeah, you can do a co-application with someone that you're not married to, for sure. The thing I will tell you about 2 people applying for a mortgage, and it doesn't matter if you're married or not. We're going to use the lowest score of the 2 people. Okay.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, sometimes that can come back to be an issue for some couples.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, thank you.
So let me say one thing about credit too. So with mortgage, we pull all 3 credit scores. So we're going to pull TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Okay. And we're going to throw out the top score, throw out the bottom score, and we're going to use the middle score. Okay.
Does everybody know what Katara means by Equifax, TransUnion? Yes.
Those are my next questions, honestly.
Okay.
No,
I'm
that's
sitting
okay.
here jotting it down.
No,
okay.
you should.
Yeah,
This
you
is
should.
really important to know. Qatar, can you give a bit more detail on this?
Those are the 3 credit bureaus that we use to get access to credit. Okay. And so if you're buying a car, they'll only pull 1 credit score. If you're getting a credit card, they'll only pull 1 credit score. But if you're pulling a mortgage, if you're doing a mortgage application, they're going to pull all 3. Okay.
Now, is that a hard pull or?
Yes, it is. It's a hard pull. But the thing is, good question and good insight that you know what the difference is between a hard pull and a soft pull. So the hard pull will show up as an inquiry on your credit report. Okay. But the thing that they finally figured out is that people shop around for large ticket items. And so as long as you've got your credit pulled and you're buying a home, you get your credit pulled within 2 or 3 weeks, 2 weeks, then it only counts as 1 inquiry.
Okay, so my credit has a secure thing put on it because
so you want to remove that before we pull credit.
Somebody was using my
your identity.
Yeah, my identity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you got to remove that. Just call them up and tell them you want to have it removed so we can pull credit.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Was it?
So with that being said, does it matter which Equifax or TransUnion, or does it matter which one, or you I just call?
Well, I don't know how yours is set up, so you got to work through however you've got it, set up. Typically, you probably got to call each bureau, but it really just depends on how you got it set up. I don't,
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now you see under on the. You guys got any more questions before we move on?
Yes. Now, what is the FICO score? What is that about?
Well, FICO is just the name of one of the credit unions' score. Okay, so FICO is TransUnion's name for their credit score. Okay.
Okay.
It's kind of like, like Kleenex is a tissue, kind of like that.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Good question.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I want to assure you all, okay, the worst thing that we've probably seen happen if someone has a hard inquiry is when you're buying a large ticket item and a bank or a car dealership or, you know, whatever other place has to look into your credit. Can you get dinged up to 10 points on your credit score? You can. But what it would reveal, especially in the home loan process, is what you got to do to get totally prepared. Okay. To me, fixing 10 points, if it gives you that much insight, is a fair trade off. And that's the worst thing that would happen. It's more likely to be less than that. But what you gain in insight, I think, is worth what you might get bumped down in potentially. And I'm saying potentially in potential credit point deductions. It's not an irresponsible choice like not paying a bill on time or spending way too much money at you know, a retail place. This is a responsible choice. You're making a, I think, educated effort to know this is what I have to do personally to afford a home. So I just think it's totally different than irresponsible docs of your credit. No one's going to look at your report like, oh my goodness, you tried to apply to purchase a home for yourself. How, you know, what a bad choice. Versus, wait a minute, you owed this place $700 and you didn't pay them for 2 months. That's a poor, you know, not always a poor choice, but that certainly reflects like worse judgment than you tried to apply for a home loan.
I agree. Exactly. And, you know, and so when I pull credit in my system, it actually lasts for 4 months. Okay.
Okay.
So that's one thing. And the other thing I will tell you is too, we'll have some discussions before we pull credit. You know, because I think it makes sense to have some discussions before you pull credit. And here's what I mean by discussions. If you haven't seen your credit in a while, I'm going to ask you a few things about, you know, what you have on your credit. And then I may even ask you to go over to a place like Credit Karma or Credit Sesame before we actually pull credit. Okay.
When you're done, I do have a question about this whole credit thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, now my credit was just up in like the 700s, like a couple of weeks ago, and they hit me with, I think it was like Cincinnati Bell or something, saying I owe like $130 something, which I did. I did owe that. So what I did was I paid it off, and then I disputed it. Should I have done that, or should I have disputed it first?
No, I mean, let's go back. So you said you owed them some money, and it was in fact true, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the reason you dispute a charge is because it's not correct. But if it's correct, then you know you kind of got to deal with it, right? And you paid it, and so you dealt with it. And so hopefully it didn't damage you too bad. And if you know, and
it brought it down like 40 something points.
Yeah. Well, you can get those back over time. Okay. Yeah, you can get them back over time. But yeah, the thing that's crazy about credit, it takes you a long time to build it well. Okay. And so if you miss 2 credit card payments in 2 consecutive months, that's enough to bring your score down 100 points in some regards. Yeah. And it's enough to kill your mortgage application. Well, yeah.
So that was, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that was my question because due to the fact that someone was using my identity, brought mine down into the 500. And so with you guys pulling it will bring it down even more because I'm trying to build it back up.
I mean, and then you're one of those cases where it doesn't make sense to pull it immediately. It makes more sense to do as much as we can. We know the score is not where it needs to be for us to do something. So with you, we're going to work on bringing that score up without pulling the score again. And you can do that. Okay. Yeah, you can do that.
It's only one thing on my, one thing in my, I do Credit Karma, and it's only on me like one thing that I know I owe.
Okay. The thing about Credit Karma, I want you guys to understand is Credit Karma and Credit Sesame are great tools. Okay. But they're using a different algorithm to build the score. So the information is correct on your credit report that you see on their websites or on the application, on the app. The information is correct. But how they formulate that information into a credit score that they're showing you is different than the 3 that we're going to pull. Okay? So your credit score is not going to match. So if you've got a 700 credit score with Karma, you probably got a decent score with, you know, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, but it may not be exactly the same. Okay, chances are it's not going to be the same. I've seen it where it's higher and I've seen it where it's lower, so I can't figure out what that's all about. Okay. Anybody got any more questions?
So Qatar, I know I hear where Kara's at, and I think I know kind of where Judy's coming from as well. Just because they do the application doesn't mean you're going to pull credit. It's just that you have the application on file, and when the time's right, you can
Right.
make that choice. But you just don't pull without them knowing. You always
No. We're not
bring
going
them
to pull
along
without you knowing. So when I get this application from you, then I'm going to schedule some time with you and we're going to talk. And because I'm going to learn a lot about you from the application. And to be quite honest, the application tells me a lot, and I may not even need to pull credit based on what I see on the application. We may have some work to do based on the application. So for instance, and here's what I mean by work to do. I'm looking for 2 years of residential history and 2 years of employment history. Okay. If it takes us, I'm sorry, the dog's barking. If it takes us, you know, well, let me back up. So when you're doing a mortgage, they're trying to make a 30-year decision off of a snapshot of information. Okay, let me say that again. When you're doing a mortgage, they're trying to make a 30-year decision because once they say yes and give you the mortgage, as long as you pay the mortgage, then you got it for 30 years. They can't take it from you. Okay?
Right.
So they're trying to make a 30-year decision based off of a snapshot of information. That snapshot is 2 years worth of stability on the job, 2 years worth of stability on in employment. Okay. So for instance, if you're a nurse and you moved around from different places, but you're still a nurse, that's okay. If you were a manager of a restaurant for 6 months and then you went to daycare for another 3 months and then, you know, you just kind of bouncing around because, you know, life happens. And I understand that. That's going to be tougher for us. Okay. Because at the end of the day, they want to see some consistency, okay, to help them determine whether or not this is going to be a good credit risk for them. Okay. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Now the income verification, that would be like check stubs, bank statements, and things like that.
Yeah. So I'm going to collect 30 days worth of pay stubs, 3 months worth of bank statements, last 2 years W-2s, and last two to 3 years tax returns.
Okay.
We don't need to do that. I'm not going to do that the first day, but that's a good list. So let me tell you guys this list again because I want you to know what this list is about. Because you can always pull these documents together and put them in a file and be ready. Okay?
Good job taking notes, both of you. I like that.
Yeah. Part of the challenge with mortgage is being organized. If you're not organized before, I guarantee you will be organized afterwards. Because it's painful when you're not organized.
Right.
So the most recent 30 days worth of paycheck stuff. So if you get paid every week, then that's going to be 4. If you get paid bi-weekly, it's going to be 2.
Right.
Okay? Your last 2 years W-2s, no matter how many you got, I need all of them. Okay.
Last 2 years W-2s. Okay.
Now, the reason I asked for last 2 years or 3 years tax returns is because depending on the mortgage program, the first-time homebuyer program, some of them require 3 years taxes to prove that you haven't owned a home in the last 3 years. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And so that's why, 3 years. Be prepared to bring in 3 years.
Okay.
And then your last 3 months, the last 3 months bank statements. Now, here's something that's important about
you said?
last 3 months.
Bank statements.
So here's what's important about the bank statements. And keep in mind, this is always a snapshot. So we want to put our best snapshot forward. They're not only are they looking at how much money you've got in the account to use towards the transaction that you want to do, they're also looking at NSF charges and actual management of your money. Okay, so if you've got a bunch of NSF charges, and we can't come up with a decent explanation, it's going to impact the underwriting. It's going to impact our approval process. Okay, so just something to know. Okay, so for instance, if all hell broke loose in April and May, it would make sense for us to wait until that's over, so we don't have to show those bank statements. Okay, because it's not going to help us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right.
So, you said 30-day pay statement. So we're in the COVID-19. So what if you're not working? What if you're,
Right.
so what do you do about the pay stubs for
Then
that?
then we need to wait till we get back to work,
Right.
and we can provide pay stubs.
Okay.
Okay, that's a good question because I needed to know that too.
Mm-hmm.
I also have a question. What if we're getting paid under the table, working with someone?
I didn't hear that.
What if can you hear me?
Hey,
Bank didn't
messing
hear
with
that.
it.
Yeah, we
Oh,
didn't.
I was ready to repeat it again.
We're taking that off the
So,
record.
and also, okay, so unemployment you could
Right.
you do that too? Or
You can't use unemployment. So they're looking for
Okay.
income that's going to last throughout the term of the loan. Okay, and so unemployment's not going to work. Money that you're not paying taxes on, that you're getting under the
Does not
table, is
work.
not going to work. They
part
want you to be
time, because I'm working part time.
part-time is okay,
Sure.
but you got to be doing it for 2 years in order for us to count it.
Okay.
No tax money.
Okay.
When you say no tax money, what do you mean?
No. I was writing it down what you guys were saying.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
It's that she can't count money that's not taxed.
Oh,
Right.
right, exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know that this sounds somewhat painful and, it takes a lot to get together. So I personally have worked with Katara because I was applying for something that I needed to do. And it's uncomfortable. I mean, showing how much money you have available, how much money you make, even if you feel fairly confident that you busted butt and worked hard. I mean, it's difficult to get all of this together. And I mean, you're showing people every nickel you've got. It always makes you feel a little bit on front and center in not a great way, but it's
Right.
worth it. It's worth it. And it does force you to get organized because, in school, our report cards or, getting passing grades count. In life, our financial statements are really the only thing that makes the difference between, in my opinion, having a good life or having a life where you have access to things and not. And if you're not organized here, no matter how hard you guys work, you probably aren't going to see the benefits of all that hard work. So that's why I want you, even if you don't do it right this second, to know what the process looks like. And both of you are doing such a good job taking notes and I think asking questions to get clarification on all of it.
And I just to take that a step further, like I said, once you put that application together, you can sit back and look at it and be proud of it because, trust me, that a good application takes effort. Okay. So I congratulate people all the time when I get an application that looks good, based on what they've been doing. And so the other thing I'll tell you is that you don't have to be perfect at all. Seriously. And I mean it. I've got programs down to 580 credit score. Okay. You do not have to be perfect. I can't say that enough. You do not have to be perfect. I've got folks that have no money that I got a guy that he just closed on a house yesterday. He's probably 25, first time home buyer. I got him into a program that got him 5% down payment assistance, and he literally brought no money to the closing table. Zero money. When we verified that he had like $500 or $600 in his account. That was it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I've been doing this for quite a while. Okay,
Right.
you
Wow.
do not need money. Okay, you
I
don't
feel
need a
more
ton of money.
comfortable now.
Right.
Yeah, you don't need a ton of money. Not at all. Matter of fact, my goal is
Yeah,
for
I
us
thought
to
what I
not.
had was not enough.
No. My goal, honestly, for each of you is to not use a dime of your money.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the way I would like to see it work. Okay, so like I said, there's the down payment for most of these programs is either 3% or 3.5% of the purchase price. Okay, so if you get a grant for 5% of the purchase price, then obviously 3% or 3.5% of that 5% is going to cover the down payment, right?
Okay.
You with me so far?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
So what's left over, so either 2% or 1.5% that's left over can be used for closing costs.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get your realtor to negotiate some closing costs being paid by the seller, which is very common. All of that help gets you to the table with no money out of your pocket.
Mm.
All I need from you is a good application, and I need at least a 640 or 650 credit score.
Okay.
That's what we're looking for. So the goal is to get us up to that so everybody can walk in. I want you to walk in with your purse on your shoulder and your hand on your hip.
A
that's
640 what credit score?
Yeah, 640 or 650 credit score.
50. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Reason I said 640 to 650 is one program is 640 that gives you 5% down payment assistance. The other program is 650, and that also gives you 5% down payment assistance.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I have a question about the grant. Hey, go back upstairs, okay? I have a question about the I apologize about that.
No,
My
you're
kids. But I was talking to my I was talking to my cousin about a grant because she's working with a realtor and or a home loan officer. I really don't know the difference.
So a realtor is the person that takes you out and shows you the home. They take you to different homes and they help you find the home. The mortgage loan officer, that's what I am. I give you the money to buy the home.
Oh.
Okay, so okay, that right there. Not the realtor, the loan officer. Okay.
Yeah, loan officer.
I'm writing it down really fast.
No, you're good.
Fine. And just to back up also, Qatar talked about closing costs. That's money that's paid to the bank for basically doing the deal, doing all the administrative paperwork that it takes to make the purchase transaction go through. So if you want to define the word closing costs, you can just say papers to buy a house. But it's
Papers to buy a house.
Yeah, but
Well,
it's not
really,
cheap. Yeah, I'm sorry.
really
Qatar, go ahead.
No, you're fine. It's really the fees that you're paying to complete the transaction. So, for instance, you've got to pay 100% of the purchase price of the house, one way or the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why you're going to the bank. The closing cost is, you've heard of an appraisal before?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So you got an appraisal. You got the title company that actually closes the loan for you to make sure that you're receiving clean title from the person that owned it before you did, that you're buying it from. So those fees are paying those guys.
So is the appraisal is how much the house is worth?
Yeah, the appraisal determines how much the house is worth.
Right.
And it's also an inspection to make sure it's not loaded with asbestos or termites or other hazards, that you might not easily see.
Right.
Good question. Good question.
So here's what. Let me tell you this. I'll take you through this little scenario, and this will help. So once you're pre-approved, okay, the loan officer sends you a pre-approval letter. Okay, you give that to the realtor, right? The realtor takes you out and they start showing you homes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Once you find a home that you like, then you're going to do what's called put in an offer. You're going to do a purchase. You're going to do a purchase contract. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
To say, hey, I'm interested in buying your home. And you're going to say, the realtor's going to say, well, how much do you want to offer? And you'll say, okay, well, my pre-approval says it's up to 100,000 or 150. I think I want to offer 140,000. Okay, whatever you guys come up with. That's the realtor helps you do that. So then
Now,
you
is there a
make
limit to that?
Well,
Like,
yeah.
is there?
Yeah, because you got a pre-approval limit. Okay, so if you're pre-approved for 150,000, you can't offer 200,000 for a house because you're not
Right.
approved for that.
No,
Okay.
I mean like a limit to like where they're not gonna take it any less. Like we stop at 10,000, we're not going any less than that. Is there like a cutoff there? Is what I'm trying to say here.
A limit for who? Who we talking about? The bank, or we talking about the
I
person you're
think
buying
what
the
she's
house?
saying is there, like for if you're going in with the buyer, can you not offer a certain amount because they may just reject it? So I
Okay.
think, Judy,
You
what
can
you're
offer
saying,
whatever you want.
yeah, exactly. Sorry.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
offer whatever you want. I mean,
Thank you,
they
Zach.
might-
I didn't.
That's
No, you're
right.
okay.
I thought I knew what you meant.
Yeah,
I
you
couldn't
can-
get it out.
No, it's okay. You can
You
put
want
it
a
in
low
offer.
ball. We know what you're doing. You would have come in and offer 80 grand.
I mean,
I got 5,000. That's it.
right. And they may tell you to go kick rocks, so they may not even answer your offer. You know? And so anyway, so that's what happens. Okay, so you put in an offer, and then let's say they accept your offer. Okay.
Okay.
So once they accept your offer, now you think you want to buy the house. Okay, but until you get it inspected by a home inspector, you don't really know much about the house. It looks nice, but you don't really know. So
Right.
the home inspector comes over, or you schedule an appointment with the home inspector, and you're going to pay that home inspector out of your pocket. Okay, you're going to pay that home inspector maybe $400. Okay, and you and that home inspector are going to be at that house for 3 or 4 hours, going through every inch of it, and he's going to write up a report, and he's going to tell you what he thinks about the house. But by the time you get done with that home inspection, you will know whether or not you still want to buy the house or not. Okay. So yeah,
Okay.
you're saying, well, damn, I'm gonna spend $400. Yeah, you're gonna spend $400 to determine whether or not you want to spend $150,000.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
So it's good
Okay.
money spent. And sometimes you find out that the house is a piece of crap. Okay. And you spent $400, and you got to eat it. Okay.
Right.
So that's what happens. Okay. So you do the home inspection. Okay. Home inspection is good. Everybody's cool. The house is great. It's in good condition. Okay.
Okay. Now that question I was going to ask, come back around to it. Now, are there any, oh yeah, I was talking to my cousin who spoke with the loan officer, and the loan officer told her that there were sometimes stipulations on the grants, like where you have to stay there for X amount of time, or you'll owe more money or something like that.
Well, I mean, every grant, think about it this way. They're giving you something for free. They're going to want something back. from
Okay.
you. Normally what
Okay.
they want from you is they want you to stay there for a certain amount of time. Okay.
Okay.
And if you leave before that time is over, if you sell the house before that time is over, then you're going to owe them a percentage of that grant back. So
Okay.
typically they reduce the what you owe back 20% a year. Okay. So it takes
20% a year.
Yeah, so it takes 5 years. So they want you to stay there 5 years. So if you sold in year 6, then you don't owe them any money back. But if you sold in year 5, you're going to owe them 20% of the grant that they gave you to help buy the house in the first place.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. These are good questions.
And that is a really good question. And also another thing, like, Kara, Judy, have you guys moved, like recently? Have you moved from one place to another recently?
No.
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 Okay. Huh. I
hate moving.
No, I do too. I moved from Clifton to the Riverfront area back in 2016. I moved from the Riverfront area to Hyde Park in this summer. It's a nightmare. I mean, it's
It
crazy.
is.
So if you guys want to move before 5 years, awesome. But like, it's so painful. Also, another thing you have to think about that, it's hard to before you get in. Things don't grow in value overnight. It's rare that you're going to come in at a perfect time and 5 years later, the house is worth so much more. In fact, it could potentially be worth a slight bit less. Your patience has to be smart. You can't pick something that you think like, well, 5 years from now, it's going to be amazing. You have to say 25 years from now, if it's, a place that I still love being, that's great. You can never be in a panic to sell. That type of mentality is always going to lead to a horrendous choice. So
That's right.
wherever you move, love it, and I think the money will follow.
I agree with that. Good.
I have to agree with that. Yeah. See, I've been actually just looking at houses, and I'm like, I have a lot of people, but I'm like, they're not going to be with me forever. So I'm fine with like a 3-bedroom. I have 3 girls. You know what I'm saying? So that's perfect. That's fine. So when everyone else is gone, I'll still have those rooms being occupied.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and the other thing you got to be, every city has a 10-year plan. Okay. Now you guys noticed, you guys are all Cincinnatians, right? You all been around. You grew up in Cincinnati. So you've noticed how people are coming back to the city, okay, in droves, and how it's really expensive to live in certain parts of the city that didn't used to be that expensive to live in years ago. Right. And now you got other parts of the suburbs like Mount Healthy, Coleraine, or let's say Seven Hills. Let's take Coleraine out. Let's say Seven Hills, where Forest Park, where it used to be more expensive to live out there years ago, and now it's starting to be a little more cost effective to live out there now. Okay. The reason I bring this up is because when you're trying to develop wealth and you're the first person in your family to maybe take that leap for your family, you have to be thinking about generational wealth. Okay. When you buy a home, as much as it's about being able to paint the walls whatever color you want or not be paying rent, it's also the first appreciating asset that you have. A car is a depreciating asset. A home is an appreciating asset, meaning it goes up. Okay. Like Zach said, it may do this, it may go up and down, but as long as it's ending up, which, housing today costs more than housing did 50 years ago or 20 years ago, just because of the nature of time and money. Okay. And so I'm not saying this to say you got to buy in a certain area. I'm just saying this to say, understand that this is your first step into buying an appreciating asset, and it's around wealth creation. So not only do you want to get it, but you want to be able to hold on to it, right?
Right.
Because getting it is one thing. Holding on to the home for 30 years until you actually own it is challenging, okay? And so it may take more effort to hold on than it does to even get it. It's going to take effort to get it, but it takes effort and grit to hold on, okay? And so just something to think about. So once we do get you into a house, the next thing I'm going to tell you is, well, Home Depot has classes to teach you about plumbing. Home Depot has classes to teach you about how to fix a hole in the wall. Home Depot has classes to teach you about, all kinds of different things. And so the more you know, the more you can do, and the less you've got to pay someone else to do it. And you can improve your own home. Okay? Make sense? I want to go back to the application. There was one section in the application that we didn't go over, and I want to get
problem. Sorry, give me 1 second.
No, you're okay. These are good questions, and keep the questions coming if you've got more. Just interrupt me. It's okay. Just jump right in. Don't even worry about interrupt. I don't want to hear myself talk more than I need to.
So Qatar, which area should?
No, you're in the right place.
Okay.
So information on property to be purchased. Okay. All I'm really looking for you to do, and you can fill it out as much as you want. More information is never a bad thing. All I'm really looking for is for you to tell me if you're looking for a single family, a 2 to 4 unit, or a condo. That's really all I'm looking for. If you want to put more information on there, you're more than welcome to, but that's really all I'm looking for. Okay.
So guys, I'm sorry.
Property in a flood zone mean?
Well, it just means that, some properties are located in areas that historically flooded.
Yep.
Over time. And so, for instance, like if you were buying a house down by the river, the Ohio River.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So how they build houses on stilts.
Yes.
Yeah. So those properties are in flood zones.
Okay.
When you work with a realtor, you'll also be told that another community that has flooding issues is Linwood and Fairfax.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you'll like a realtor will tell you, hey, this could be on a floodplain, which means it either sits by a river, creek that floods, and it could get in your basement.
Okay.
Yep.
I do have a question. What is the difference between getting a home where you rent to own it and just getting a mortgage out? What is that?
Well, the one thing I like about mortgages is that you can always take the words and it's really practical. Okay. So rent to own is exactly what it sounds like. You started out renting it and you've got a contract in place to have an option to maybe purchase it one day. Okay.
Okay.
And folks do that all the time. If you're buying it outright, then you're just going straight into a position where you're trying to buy the home. You're not even thinking about trying to rent it. You're just trying to buy it outright today.
Just real quick on the rent to own, Judy, let's pretend you were still in the rent phase of it. You make modifications to the home because you want it to look a certain way, but for whatever reason you fall behind on payments. The person can still evict you and you've lost all the money you've tied up in your renovations. Not that you can't get kicked out of or not evicted from a home that you own as well, but it's just like you're making someone else's asset, whatever you want to call it, their home better, not your home better.
Right.
That's the key difference.
And the other thing about rent to own, a lot of times some of those guys are playing games. So what they want you to do a lot of times is they want you to put down a deposit, and they're hoping like hell that you can't finish it. So you put down $5,000. They say, oh, the $5,000 will go towards you buying the home, but then you get behind or something happens and you're not able to do what the rest of the contract says you were supposed to do, and you end up losing your $5,000. Okay, so don't do that. Please don't do that.
I learned that the hard way because I did the rent to own, and I spent like 8 years there, and
Don't do
it
that.
was like $650. I paid out like $42,000 for someone to turn around and actually purchase the house.
Yeah, because there's really no such thing as rent to own. That's just the guy. That's just the guy that's willing to talk to you about selling you a house that he's willing to rent you today. That's all it is. Okay.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay.
Yeah. And so I tell you, I don't care if you guys buy a house today, tomorrow, or next year. Any kind of real estate question like that comes up, call me. Okay. I don't care if it's 10 o'clock at night. Call me. Send me a text message. But whatever you do, don't do something without talking to somebody like myself or Zach. Don't do
cool.
that.
Okay.
Okay. And I don't care if you think the question is dumb or silly or whatever. Ask me. There's no such thing, believe me, because you just don't know. And a lot of times you can't put it back in the bag either. So once you say it or once you've done it, sometimes it can be impossible to put it back.
Right.
Okay? So let's talk before we do it.
Yeah, and I think also just kind of on that same note, it's like, of course you're going to ask questions that later on, once you've gotten past them, it's like, why did I need to know that? But it's like you can't possibly project how difficult some of this is. I promise you, even when you purchase this house, you're going to be putting your name on documents and you have no idea what it means, or like you're just going to be signing stuff because you have a fairly good feel for it. But still,
now
guys,
I will tell you this too, guys.
Yeah,
you're gonna go to a home buyer training class too, and so you're gonna learn a lot. You're gonna know a lot already just by us having this little conference call. But when you go to class, you're gonna learn even more. Okay, but don't beat yourself up if you can't turn around and do a mortgage for somebody else, because trust me, I've been doing this for a long time. It takes time. Okay, so you're not gonna be an expert even once you get done with class. Your head might even be spinning more after class. Okay, but it's a process, so just don't beat yourself up about it.
Okay.
All right, so I want to finish up this application so I can let you guys go. We're getting close to the hour mark. So
Sure.
um, the insurance company information, don't worry about that. Not looking for that. I do want to know if you're a male or a female and your ethnicity and all of that. Okay. And then if you scroll down the declarations, just answer those questions, take them for face value and answer the question. Okay. And
And
then,
guys, do you see how there's a borrower and a co-borrower thing? If it's just you doing the application, then don't worry about the co-borrower. Do you see what I'm talking about, that co-borrower column?
Could you
Mhm.
expand it a little bit?
Sure. Sorry for those that need
Okay, yeah.
larger font. So
Mhm.
this is what I'm talking about, the co-borrower column. Whoops, sorry for zooming out. You're just worried about the borrower, not the co-borrower section. And Qatar was saying, fill out in the declarations, are there, just read the question, are there any outstanding judgments against you? And it says yes, no.
And if you don't know, that's perfectly okay. I'm going to pull your credit anyways. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Eventually I will. So I'll find out everything, whether you tell me or not, or whether you know or not. So don't even worry about it.
Okay.
Okay. And again, like I said, you don't have to be perfect. Okay. What I don't want you guys to do is I don't want you to do this application and then beat yourself up. Okay. Because it doesn't look the way you think it should look. Don't do that to yourself. Okay. Let me handle all of that. You just put the information down and you give it to the big guy and let me go with it. Okay.
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 And guys, this is why I have Qatar here. He's a big advocate. He helped me, get in position to do something I wanted to do in 2 days. He's very prompt. He never gets frustrated that you're trying to do things quickly. He's good. If you get in position, I know he was mentioning that he has, like there are classes at Home Depot, but the program has folks that are good contractors. And I mean, they won't rip you off. They'll work for $25 an hour. They can do a lot of great things.
Mhm.
I mean, so we have a lot of connections. If you're willing to get organized, this is a difficult process because of the organization. But if you're like, I don't know how to lay a floor, it's like, I don't know how to lay a floor.
I don't
Who
either.
does? Tar doesn't know how to lay a floor. But my guy Chavez and his team, these guys
Oh,
bust
that's right. I
up.
forgot. Yeah, I forgot about your
So
guy.
you
Yeah.
can actually purchase a house to flip and then do it yourself, right?
Well,
If you're that
here's-
talented.
A handyman house.
Well, right. I mean, so exactly. There's a lot of stuff you can do. You can buy a house and improve it and then turn around and sell it. The only problem with that is that the next time you go to buy a house, you're not technically a first-time home buyer anymore. So now you're not going to get all the help. So, the definition of a first-time home buyer is a person that hasn't owned a home in the last 3 years.
Well,
So you
no, I
can-
was saying like get it for
Mhm.
yourself.
Oh yeah. I'm just saying that you can get it again. You can, there's a lot of stuff you can do. Tons of stuff.
I'll just share with you this, my best experience, and I have a lot of people in my life that have done well for themselves. No one's rushed it. And what I mean by that is they do things with a much longer term. I know that there's tons of shows on TLC and, HGTV where people are flipping and supposedly making a huge amount of money. The people I know that have built huge amounts of wealth, probably much more than them, have not done that. They've been very diligent about the choices they make where they can feel committed to them long term. They can build things slowly, but over
Long-term.
time they're worth so much. They, they pass it on to their family and they've done really well. Same thing with other types of investments. They do not invest one day to hopefully sell it 3 days later or 2 weeks later. I can tell you and this is maybe a little bigger than this conversation, you will be punished heavily on taxes for being quick like that. When you start to pay big amounts of taxes, it's because you want things very quickly. People who can afford to go a little bit slower, they'll be punished vastly less on tax. You'll make over long periods of time, much, 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 much more money. And again, I'm speaking from a place where I've been impatient, but now I'm getting more patient because I've been thankfully surrounded by some people that told me, hey, slow it down, good friend. You're not going to get where you want to go as quick as you think. If you're patient, it's going to pay off. And I've taken their advice, and it's helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Katara, can I ask one more question before we get out of here?
Yeah, sure.
Could you explain to me what a quick sale is and what a short-term sale is? Like a
What a short sale is, and
quick is it quick sale or something like that, or a short-term sale? That's kind of confusing. I don't know if you get what I'm saying or not.
I'm familiar with a short sale, but a quick sale, I'm not familiar with what you mean when you say a quick sale.
Okay, well, just explain the short sale for me.
Well, the short sale is when let's say you owe $100,000 on your house and you want to sell it, but the person that wants to buy it from you only wants to give you $80,000 for the house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but let's say you're getting ready to lose the house because you're going through some financial difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you've got to ask your mortgage company if they're willing to do a short sale to sell it for $80,000 versus the $100,000 that you owe on it.
Okay.
So that's basically what a short sale is.
Okay.
I don't know if you were referring to a quick claim deed.
Probably, yeah.
A quick claim deed is just when you can quickly deed your property over to another person. You can go down to a title company and you can deed it over to another person. Okay, that's if you own it outright. Okay? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but those are, like I said, there's so much to talk about in the pot of real estate that we're just kind of getting in the baby pool a little bit, getting our feet wet. But I've been around lending and did business banking and all of that. So I've lent up to $10 million. Okay. And so I've been in banking for over 25 years and lending for over 25 years. And so I can probably handle most conversations you guys want to have. And if not, then I've got some other folks behind me that can help us too.
Okay. I have one last question myself. Now I was talking to a friend earlier who had, I don't know how true it is, but she said that some girl she knew had Section 8 and she used that as a down payment or something like that.
There is a program called Section 8 to Home Ownership where you can use your Section 8 voucher to help you purchase a home. And it depends on, where you're, what I've heard is, and I don't know if this is a rumor or not, but I've heard those programs are going away.
Okay.
But they do exist.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Katara. So I know I've been trying as much as I can for folks with housing vouchers to get them in this thing called family self-sufficiency.
Yeah,
that does allow you to use your voucher assistance as basically income, like a supplemental income.
Right.
For 15 years, but it's very difficult at the Metropolitan Housing Authority to get a hold of anybody that knows anything about that program.
Yeah, like I said, that program is kind of what I'm hearing has been phased out, but that's a rumor. It's not like I got some publication saying that. Mm-hmm. It's not as popular as it used to be, because what I'm not sure about is how they wean you off of the voucher.
Right.
As you move, through home ownership. And so to me, the scary thing would be to be moved off of the voucher sooner than you are ready to be moved off of it. And now you've got a house and the bank is understanding, but they're not going to be that understanding to say, well, you don't need to pay all your mortgage because your voucher's gone. I mean, that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? So I have to I want to learn a little bit more. I know about the program, but it's been a while since I dug into it, and I want to find out a little bit more about it so I can bring you guys some good information. Okay. And I'll tell you whether or not. And now the thing about me when it comes to lending, I wasn't always just a banker. I also worked at the housing agency level. Okay, so nonprofit housing agency. So really, I'm more of a counselor with a banking background. And so when I talk to you, I'm going to always be talking to you from a counseling standpoint when it comes to lending, because at the end of the day, I want you to win. I'm not worried about the bank winning as much as the bank will win. They'll be fine. I want you to win. Okay. And so I'm going to advise you more as a counselor, more so than just a loan officer. Here's what I mean. So just because you can be pre-approved for $180,000, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to look at what you're paying in rent. Okay. And I may even tell you, okay, so you think if your rent is $600 and you think you can afford 900, then for the next 2 months while we're going through this process, let's pretend that your rent is 900. So put that extra 300 away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And see how life feels without that extra 300.
That's very
Okay.
good. That's very good.
Yeah. Because sometimes you got to help folks self-discover what they need versus trying to tell them.
Yeah.
So,
Sometimes people put their foot in their mouth.
yeah, I got twin daughters that are 21, so I do more self-discovering than I do telling because they don't listen to me anymore.
Right.
Hey,
But I can help
Judy.
them self-discover some stuff.
Hey, Judy, sorry. Are you using a housing voucher at this point?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. I think that's a good thing just because I'm trying my best to connect with, I think there's this woman, her first name's Priscilla,
Okay.
down at Metropolitan Housing Authority. She's supposedly in charge of FSS, that's Family Self-Sufficiency. Because you're probably the third person I'm aware of in the program that would be a great candidate for this. But like Katara said, I want to make sure it's not going away. If you were to get a loan,
Right.
how does that work? Because like you said, if you're used to getting a $500 supplement from, the federal government, and all of a sudden it goes away on a whim, it's just like, wow, I hope you're in much better, income position. Kiara, are you using a voucher as well?
No,
Okay.
I've paid market rent my whole life.
Hey, no problem. Hey, I don't knock either one, but I like in the voucher situation that you possibly could leverage it to purchase a home. But no, either one is respectable for sure.
All right.
All
Got
right,
any more
guys.
questions? Bella decided she wanted to say hi again.
Hi.
We got
Thank
two
you.
fur
I
babies.
feel
too.
very blessed.
Yeah, Katara,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
No, you guys are welcome. Like I said, you got
Yes.
my cell number. You got any questions, you call me, okay? No matter weekend or during the week or evening. Just call me or text me.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right.
All
Thank
right.
you so
I'll
much.
be waiting to get your applications and ready to talk when you guys send them over.
Or Zach, are
Okay.
you sending us those applications?
I'm gonna do it. Hey, Kara and Judy, stay on. Katara, I'm gonna let you go. I know you've got other stuff to take care of, but yeah. So if you guys stay on, I'm gonna show you something real quick, and then I'm gonna send it to you.
Sure.
Cool.
All right, guys. Good meeting you, folks.
Okay.
Can't
Nice
wait to
meeting you. Thank
work with
you.
you.
Thank
All right.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. I wanted you to just get that high-level overview there. Bear with me real quick. I'm going to share my phone screen again, and I'm going to show you how to work this on your phone.
Okay.
Judy, I know you have an iPhone. Kara, you have like a Samsung or an Android phone.
Yeah.
Is that right?
And a laptop. Everything.
That's fine. One of the two options will work, but let me just show you on a mobile device. That's the way
Okay.
most people do stuff anymore. So hang tight. Let me share my screen.
I have a laptop as well.
That's fine. I can show it to you both ways. Let me start with the phone first, and then
Okay.
I can show the laptop as well. Hold on. Just a sec. Okay. All right. So I'm going to send this to you via email just because that's the way I had it. Okay. This is in my email inbox. All right.
Okay.
In my inbox, if this loads, and sorry, because I'm streaming the video, it's a little bit clunky and slow. What will happen is it's a PDF file in your inbox. You want to tap to open it. And then on the iPhone, and I think there's like a little sharing symbol on Samsung or the Android. It's not quite like this, but you want to touch the little sharing symbol. Again, on the iPhone, it shows you that you can share it as a text message. You can share it as email. You can AirDrop it. I get that some of those features are a bit different on Android, but I'm sure it's similar enough. What you want to do as your first step on the iPhone is you want to save the files, okay? And you want to do that equivalent on an Android. So I'm going to touch save to files. And Carrie, you might say, Zach, you're crazy. It doesn't look anything like that on Samsung. I apologize, but try some version of what I'm showing you.
Okay.
Okay, so when I touch save to files, and again, this is iPhone, it gives me a variety of places to save it to. I like to save it to my downloads folder. So I'm going to touch my downloads, and then I just have something called untitled folder. I'm going to touch my downloads, and then it says save up top. So I have cancel and save up top. There's a little folder with the plus button. I'm going to hit save. I've already shown other groups this, so it says, hey, wait a minute, you already did that. You want to keep both or replace the one. Okay, if I was doing this the first time through, it wouldn't say this, but it's just warning me you've tried this before. Are you sure that you want to do it again? And I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to touch replace. And now it's saved that, okay? What I then want to do, and again, this is on iPhone, is I want to go to my folder where it's saved at. Why do I want to do that? On iPhone, there's an app called Files. On Files, it's in my recent because I literally just saved it 2 seconds ago. So under Files on the iPhone, and again, I'm sure there's an equivalent on Android.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is. It's this MTG pre-approval or pre-app. I'm going to touch that.
Okay.
Once I've done it, now I'm not going to fill the whole thing out because I would bore everybody to tears, but I'm just going to go, and I apologize if this zooms in where you can't see real well. The first question is, who is the Huntington Mortgage Loan Officer? His name is Katara, K-A-T-A-R-A, and his last name is Reliford, R-E-L-I-F-O-R-D. Okay, I put his name in. And I'm just going to do this as an example. I'm going to then hit my done key, which is in the bottom left-hand corner of my phone. And then I'm going to hit on my phone, done. Once I do that, when I go back into the app, as you can see, Katara Reliford still stays in there. Okay, it saved it. Now, if I wanted to email that application, I would go down to the bottom corner with that box that has the up arrow. I would touch it, and then I would hit my mail button. And then that PDF now has all the data I typed into it. Whatever the stuff is on my application, I would simply address it to Katara. So if I were to really do this, I would put in his email, which should pop up right now. There it is, katara.e.reliford@Huntington Bank. I'd hit send, and he would have my finished application if I were to have filled out the whole thing. Okay, so that is how you do that on the phone. So let me go through it again, and I will email it to you. I'm going to email this to you. I'm saying Katara. I'm going to email this to you, Kara, and you, Judy. Okay, again, you will look in your email. You will find the email from me. It will come as a PDF. You will touch the PDF. You will then do the up arrow box for the PDF. You will save it to files. You will choose downloads. You will save it to downloads. And again, I'm going to say replace because it's already there. It should save it. You're going to go to your version of files. It should be in recent. You should open that file out of the recent. You should fill in the appropriate data and then send that to Katara by hitting your equivalent of the share button. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so that's doing that on the phone. It is different on a laptop. So I'm going to now share on the laptop. So give me just another second to switch over.
I think the phone. I think the phone is fine.
You think you know how to do it, Judy? You think you know how to do it on a phone?
Oh yes.
Okay, cool. Well, I just wanted to make.
I still wrote the steps down just in case.
Yeah, I think so too. On the laptop, it's a little clunkier because you have to download the PDF and then you have to go fish it out of wherever it downloads to. I find the phone to be somewhat easier. Now, it's a little harder. I know, Kara, maybe it's hard to see it. I know a lot of the people at the school have to blow the screen way up, but if you can get in there and knock it out, it's actually, in my opinion, much easier on a phone than on a desktop.
Once you send it to me, go to the PDF file.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm going to send it to both of you now. So just stay on the line with me.
And then after the PDF file, do what?
Yeah. So, okay, you're going to touch the PDF file and open it, right? So like it's going to come in the email. You open the file first.
Okay.
Down in the bottom, and again, I'm speaking iPhone talk here. Down in the bottom corner, there's a square box with an up arrow.
Right.
Yeah, your thing might look like a sharing symbol. It's almost like a little open alligator mouth with little dots at the end. You're going to touch that. What
Okay.
you're looking for is a menu option that says save file. Okay. And it
Save
might say
file,
something
right.
like, you know, keep this file, store this file, some word that says you're going to keep the file on your phone.
Right.
Save that file. I prefer using downloads because it's just something I'm accustomed to, whether I'm working on a desktop or a phone. So I save that document to my downloads. Okay. Once I know where it's saved at, on iPhone, there's an app and it comes on the phone just without any downloads. It's called Files. So I go to my Files button and I look in my recent, because I just did it, for that PDF.
Okay.
When I open it again, now I'm working on the version of it that's saved to my phone. I can fill in all the information. I then hit done, and I can then send that done version to Katara or to me or to, you know, a husband or whomever
Right.
needs to have it all saved.
Okay.
Okay. I think I may have done a video on this as well. So I'll try to send that like a little YouTube that's maybe 4.5 minutes long. And again, take it with a grain of salt on an Android that some steps might not look identical, but it's enough
Similar,
like that you
yeah.
can figure it out, I'm sure. Okay.
Okay.
Judy, Kara, really good. I am holding a tech skills boot camp on Thursday. Kara, I think I've already told this to you.
Mhm.
But Judy, I'd love if you have a second for you to come to it as well. I know you're quick and fast, but we like that because I'll challenge you to a type off.
Okay, cool.
All right.
If it's on the phone, I'm winning.
Yeah, I'm
If
sure
it's
you
on the
would.
phone.
Yeah, I have no doubt.
Right.
I have no doubt. I think what I would like to show everybody is how to craft different messages. Like we worked on an email last time. I think that there's ways to like, and a lot of people want to know how to follow up. Like what's a good, like, let's say you haven't heard something from someone. How do you best follow up? How do you do a nice follow-up email? What do you say if you have to leave a message for that person? Like some of it's tech skills, but some of it's like following up, and maybe there's tools that can help you help remind you to follow up. Even how do you use the calendar app on your phone to help program your day? Like it's a little bit of technology, but it's also just how to make me more efficiently use your time. Okay. So, and then some of it's just like keyboarding. I want you to be good at keyboarding, not on a phone. Like you said, you probably could beat me on the phone. I've no doubt. But on the keyboard, because there are some business applications, there ain't no way you're using a phone or a tablet.
Exactly.
I mean,
Right.
it's impossible. It's way too much information.
Right.
So anyway, guys, I will send you, if you don't get the email from me, just text me, Zach, I didn't get it, and I'll send it again. And I'll also send you the video where I give that same breakdown on how to save the application and send it to Katara, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
You ladies
All right,
did
bye,
a
guys.
wonderful job. Have a great evening.
All right.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much,
Thanks,
Zach.
Zach.
All right, bye.